Tom and Jack for Cultaholic. Back on Twitch tonight, aren't you, Jack? Guiding the career of those in Cultaholic FC.
That's right. Myself and Owen have set up a lower league team, and we manage them every week on Twitch. We're only up to episode 2 today, so check it out. You'll get on board early at 6 p.m. And it's just been hectic already. We're not a great team, but we try our best. So that's
Who's the star player from episode 1?
That's got to be Glenny Omega, our striker. By the way, we've been giving them nicknames as well. So it's all good fun. £5 Ken's up there as well, on the bench usually because he is only on £5 a week. Don't know how we got away with that, but there we go.
Oh, that's sad that you're singling him out for his wages. Never mind. £5 Ken and more. Twitch.tv/Cultaholic later tonight. But right now, here is your wrestling news. A top WWE Raw star is rumoured to have not signed a contract renewal. We'll talk about it in a second. Also, Chris Jericho has revealed a prior COVID-19 diagnosis. And we have an update on an injured NXT star. Riddle featured quite heavily on Monday Night Raw on Monday nights, losing to Bobby Lashley. Spoilers, you've had a couple of days to watch it now, you're over it. But the future of Riddle possibly in jeopardy right now, Jack?
Yeah, it seems quite strange because basically on Wrestling Observer Live, Brian Alvarez has been talking about the fact that he's not signed a new deal yet with WWE, despite the fact that it's getting around to that sort of time for him. Is that fair to say?
That seems like it. Well, what we heard recently was that a contract had been signed by Riddle. He'd been offered an extension for many, many years, and it was looking like, hey, he's on board for ages. Here we go. But the one thing that's led people to question that is some of the booking. Now, whilst Riddle has been heavily featured on Raw over the last couple of weeks in comedy skits, the belief was the plan was going to be Riddle beating Bobby Lashley, and as of Monday Night Raw, getting quite quickly beat by Bobby Lashley, that doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. It's added some question marks over the situation with Riddle. Yeah. Because if he's signed in, why aren't you going all in?
Absolutely, and I think that a lot of people were expecting this title match to be put off maybe until the Royal Rumble, where they'd potentially do a big title change where Riddle would beat Bobby Lashley, but instead he lost to him on Raw, clean, and tapped out, which is about as decisive as it gets, really. Then after the match, obviously, he called out MVP. MVP came down to the ring, and Lashley, it wasn't really a match, Lashley attacked Riddle for the DQ, and then MVP just gave him, as you would say, gave him a shoeing, and literally did.
Shoeing.
Yeah. So it wasn't the strongest night for Riddle. He didn't look that strong. It does seem like quite a strange series of booking decisions, and it could indeed be linked to this whole idea of a deal that might be up in the air.
The situation with Riddle in WWE is quite literally a riddle.
Oh, God.
Bwah, bwah, bwah. A brand new episode of Talk is Jericho has dropped in the last couple of hours, and it's not just Drew McIntyre and Nick Jackson who have spoken recently about their battles with COVID. Chris Jericho adds his name to that list now, doesn't he, Jack?
Yeah, Jericho revealed that he had previously tested positive for COVID, and basically said this is the quote from Talk is Jericho. I haven't really told anyone this, but I tested positive back in maybe September, and I had 0 symptoms, so he's one of the lucky ones that, was symptomless. I'm one of the ones that you said, I had my 10 days in isolation, stayed away from everybody, and I didn't have a symptom. I didn't even know that I had it. I went and got a test just in general, and it's one of those ones where they said you're positive, and I was like, really? Are you serious? And I had nothing, no headache, no cough, which I guess is a very lucky thing. It wasn't a false positive because I took 3 different tests and they were all positive. So it seems like, a few months ago, Jericho did test positive, did his isolation, and was, thankfully for him, very, very fine.
We were trying to figure out when this would have been, because obviously he would have missed some time on AEW.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Jericho himself doesn't really remember, he said around September. So I did a bit of snooping on his Cage Match page, which basically, if you don't know what Cage Match is, it lists all the matches that a wrestler has. And there were some gaps in there around that sort of time, maybe in between the Orange Cassidy feud and the MJF feud, but at the same time, it's hard to tell because Jericho, he doesn't wrestle on Dynamite every week, does he? He's often in skits or on commentary, or sometimes part of a wider storyline that doesn't really involve having a wrestling match. Sometimes they save him for the big shows, which makes total sense, but it does make it hard to kind of decipher exactly when this was. But there certainly were gaps of 10 days or more in between two of his matches.
Would that probably been reason why he didn't discuss the fact that he'd been diagnosed with COVID at the time? Is it a case of there was lots of other stuff going on, and it would, whether he wanted to remove himself from that, he didn't want to bring that up and address that? I know he's come under a lot of fire during the past year of the pandemic, as he was at a concert in Sturgis. He put on a show in Sturgis, and in an area which saw a massive rise in COVID cases. And whether or not he thought, if I bring this up, if I've got it, it's just going to open the floodgates for all sorts of stuff. So I'm just going to just quietly isolate and crack on.
That could potentially be a reason why as well. Yeah, maybe.
Which is just the opposite of what Drew McIntyre's done, where Drew McIntyre has turned around and they've turned it into almost part of the story by him saying, "Hey, I'm off for a bit now." But
well,
see you at the Rumble, Goldberg.
It was quite surreal actually to see Drew admit it on WWE TV, because they've been pretending quite a lot that it just doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's just another day at the office. We just choose to not have fans here. It's been really odd to see them acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think that's, in a way, that's for the better. It was quite refreshing to see, and I think that, you know, every individual person, whether they want to reveal it or not, that should be up to them, as long as they're isolating. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just before recording, we got wind of something that came from a Twitch stream hosted by Amy Dumas, better known as Lita. What's happening here, Jack?
So I should point out first of all that this comes from a Reddit thread on Squared Circle. So neither me nor Tom have actually seen the clip in question, but assuming that it is accurately reported here, Lita basically has revealed that the infamous, you know, live sex celebration angle between herself and Edge, many moons ago now, like close to 15 years ago now, I'd say, that was apparently basically forced upon her by Vince McMahon. It's a very, very serious and shocking thing if indeed that's the way that the clip went. Once again, me and Tom haven't seen it, but I'm assuming that this person who posted it is telling the truth. I don't know why they'd misreport what Lita said on Twitch. So she said that WWE basically threatened to fire her if she didn't do the live sex celebration segment with Edge. Now, Lita also pointed out that this story, thankfully, does have some people who come out of it looking quite good. Apparently, various people backstage tried to stop it from happening. She apparently mentioned Edge himself, who, of course, was the other key person in the segment, and John Cena as well. But Vince liked the idea of the segment, and so it went ahead. Apparently, they threatened to fire her when she was uncomfortable with doing it, which is why she did it. And apparently, as well, it was the reason she decided to leave the company soon after, and possibly the reason that her departure from the company was kind of just based around ridicule. She wasn't given a big send-off or anything, given the fact that she was such a pioneer for the women's division. You'd expect Lita to get a much bigger and more sentimental send-off, especially when you consider that her send-off came months apart from Trish Stratus's, and Trish was, you know, essentially given a hero's send-off, and Lita absolutely wasn't.
There was a maliciousness with Lita's send-off. If you remember, it was crime time, stealing her suitcase and throwing her underwear and stuff all around the ring. And it was done in a way to mirror Trish's send-off, but in a more bad guy getting their comeuppance type way. Lita, of course, would years later be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, but this is quite a disturbing turn of events. If you know, when we know more about this, you know more at Cultaholic.com. Over to New Japan Pro Wrestling. In the right time, we are having a run of the New Japan Cup. It was in the summer last year, which felt a little bit out of place, didn't it?
It's usually in the spring, and this year, as you mentioned, it's back to its usual place in the calendar, and this is officially being confirmed by New Japan themselves, who say I was about to start reading their statement on it, forgetting that it was officially from them, and I was about to, it's the biggest single elimination.
Oh, they got you.
Sunday.
They got you. Sunday.
They've said it's the biggest single elimination tournament of the New Japan calendar, which it is, and after 2020 saw New Japan push the cup to the summer, 2021 sees the tournament return to its spring slot. Just one day after New Japan celebrates its 49th anniversary in the fabled Budokan Hall, action will begin in Korakuen Hall on Friday, March the 5th. Now, obviously the New Japan Cup takes place over several dates. It's a bit more elongated than something like, say, King of the Ring, for example. And traditionally, the winner of the tournament gets a shot at the champion, which leads to all kinds of different possibilities. Sometimes a bit of a kind of a second tier guy sometimes will win the cup to give a bit of a unique challenger for the champion. There's lots of different avenues this can go in. And once again, despite New Japan having a bit of a limited roster at the moment when it comes to people from other countries, they do have a lot of home-based talent currently who could make it a very, very exciting tournament, Tom. I think it could be really interesting stuff, but we don't know the competitors quite yet.
Is there one, though, that you would like to see, even though there isn't any confirmed yet? Is there somebody that you'd like to see?
Oh, Gabriel Kidd.
Oh, yes.
I mean, to be fair, he might be in it, but I mean, you know, young lions never win this sort of thing. But I'd like very much for Gabe to be in it, and at least to put up a good fight in his inevitable first round defeat.
Yes, come on, Lifeboat.
Come
man.
on.
Andrade, still conspicuous by his absence, following taking time off to have elective surgery back in October. Some rumours on the grapevine, if you will, on how he will make his return to the company. That was discussed by WrestleVotes just the other month. A bit of an update on that, haven't we, Jack?
Yeah, so WrestleVotes initially tweeted saying that it was likely that Charlotte Flair and Andrade would become a pairing on screen as well as off screen. Obviously, they're in a relationship in real life. But in kayfabe, it turns out WrestleVotes were implying that this could be in the near future, a pairing of the two. Now, it seems like maybe this could be put in motion after the events on Monday Night Raw, where Ric Flair just blatantly turned on his daughter, just sold her out, helped Lacey Evans win, because he wants to cop off with Lacey Evans. It's a story full of nuance.
It's a tale as old as time.
It is. Father betrays daughter to get with younger woman. Now, I feel as though this could be setting the wheels in motion, because Andrade tweeted out after this happened saying you need someone in your corner, possibly implying that it would be him himself. Now, I don't know, Tom, whether this is actually the start of an angle or whether it's just what wrestlers sometimes do, try and get involved with storylines or give their thoughts on it as the show's going on social media.
We see it a lot, don't we, where they will, like, I think we had a bit of fun at the expense of Bayley about a year and a half ago, where I felt like Bayley, every chance she get, would interject herself into a dream match here and there. And do you know what? Andrade coming back to be in the corner of Charlotte makes sense. I don't want to see Charlotte Andrade versus Ric Flair, but
I do. No.
Oh no!
No, I don't know. It's okay.
It would. I like the idea of Andrade and Flair becoming a team. I like that, an on-screen team. A heel team, though. I would say.
Yeah. Charlotte's always a more natural heel, and of course Andrade is as well.
Exactly. I'm not like Lacey Evans Lacey Evans and Ric Flair buddying up together are blatantly the heels to Charlotte's other heel. So Andrade would be another heel.
Well,
a lot of shades of grey here.
Even though Charlotte is at the moment a face because of her return, and she was all happy to be pals with Asuka and stuff, it does seem like a heel turn's never too far away with Charlotte, just the way that she is. She's a bit of a modern day Triple H in that way.
Oh, nice. And finally, an update on one of Yorkshire's finest. Ridge Holland suffered a horrific... Who do you think I was going to say?
Andrew Hodkinson from Cultaholic.
Of course! I forgot all about Andrew. I tell you what, I would rather watch Andrew moisturise his head than Ridge Holland. I'm just saying. I'd also rather watch Andrew put together genuine Lego. If you watch the stream on Tuesday, you'll get that. If you didn't, that's on you.
We should have some sympathy for Ridge Holland, though, because
he hasn't got any genuine Lego.
Apart from that, yeah, because he did sustain a bit of a nasty injury, didn't he?
It was a nasty injury, so it was off something so simple, which made it so worse. With only Lorcan doing a dive over the top, and I've watched it, and it was awful. It's Ridge Holland catching Oni, falling backwards, and like his legs giving out underneath him, and he goes into quite grim detail as to what happened when he landed and when we'll expect to see him back with Alex McCarthy of TalkSport, home of Autoglass Repair, Autoglass Replace. Well, what did he say, Jack?
Well, he did say something which I'll get into in just a second, but we have to remember as well that we should feel doubly sorry, I think, for Ridge Holland, because not only was it a bad injury, but it came at a very crucial point as well, and it looked like he was on the cusp of getting a push as well. But Alex McCarthy said that he'd spoken. Well, Alex McCarthy had spoken to Ridge Holland, and this is what he had to say. Pretty freak injury on my left leg. I fractured and dislocated my ankle, and then on my right leg, I dislocated the kneecap and ruptured my patella tendons. Kind of a buy one get one free on injuries, he said. But it's coming on well. The WWE medical staff are top notch and they've got me well on the road to recovery. They were all very concerned and just wanted the best for me. They made sure I got the best medical care and reassured me that everything is going to be fine. From my personal standpoint, mentally, as soon as that happened and I was on the stretcher, I was already thinking about, okay, let's get ready to come back. What can I do to get back and to be better than ever? He also mentioned what a good support system they have in NXT, everybody from the medical staff to Triple H himself. Just basically saying that it's nice to know that people care, which is great. I'm pleased for him that he received that kind of attention and care.
He really did. When asked how long he was going to be away for, Ridge Holland told us, early days yet. The doctor has said 6 to 9 months. I'm just taking it day by day, see how the knee and ankle feels. If I look too far in the future, I'll probably take my focus on what needs to be done today. So we'll see how it goes. It's a long recovery time. I think we pretty much expected it to be around that. And devastating, as you rightly said, Jack. It was just starting to hot up for Ridge Holland, and no doubt when he's back up and running, he's gonna be a big deal in NXT.
I'd like to think so. Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, just all we can really say is good luck on the road to recovery, and hopefully,
good luck.
Hopefully, it all goes fine.
If in doubt, if you're killing time, take some advice from other fellow Yorkshiremen, and maybe watch Okie Doke, moisturise your head, and break out the genuine Lego. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.